Okay, this video is for 4.5b. Number 1, they want you to solve the equation by factoring. It's already all on one side of the equation for you, so you don't have to move any terms. It's already in order, and there's no greatest common factor, and the lead coefficient is positive. So there's really nothing that you have to do except factoring. The lead coefficient is 1, so it's an easy trinomial. So through trial and error, we have x and x as the first terms. We need two values that multiply to give you negative 24, but add up to give you a negative 2. That would be negative 6 and positive 4. Now we want to set each of these equal to 0 and solve. The first one gives you 6. The second one gives you negative 4. So you use set notation from least to greatest. So negative 4 and 6 are your solutions. Number 2, you want to get all the terms to one side. So we'll have x squared plus x minus 2 equals 0. The order is good. There's no greatest common factor. The lead term is positive. The lead term is 1. So it's an easy trinomial. So let's use trial and error again. Two numbers multiply to give you negative 2, but add to give you a positive 1. So that would be positive 2 minus 1. Set each of those equal to 0 and solve. The first one gives you negative 2. The second gives you 1. So your solutions are negative 2 and 1. Number 3, solve by graphing. So let's get the calculator out. So hit y equals, let's enter the equation. So 10x squared. We're going to want to move these terms to the left-hand side. So it's going to be plus 3x minus 4. Hit graph. And then second trace 2 to give you the zeros. So the left bound is going to be before you hit the x-axis, so hit enter. The right bound is after the x-axis, and then hit enter again. So your first root is negative 0.8. You want to do it again, so second trace 2 for the right. So there's your left bound, so just under it, and your right bound after it, and then guess 0.5. So let's write down those two solutions. So negative 0.8 and 0.5 are your two solutions. Number 4 is also a graphing calculator problem. So let's clear out the old equation. Negative 0.09 x squared plus 0.83 x. Graph it. And we see the zeros here, so we don't have to change the window. I mean, you could make the x, let's say 15, just so we can see it a little bit better. So how far did the dog jump? Well, we want to find the second 0. The first 0 is at the origin. That's where the dog starts the jump. And then he ends his jump right around here. So we want to hit second trace 2. The left bound is going to be any point before you hit the x-intercept. So that point is good. And then right bound is any space after it. And then hit enter again. And the 0 is going to be 9.22. So you just 9.22. Number 5 is the same exact equation, but how high did he jump? So instead of finding the 0, we want to hit the maximum. We want to get the max value. So second trace maximum is option 4. Left bound is going to be any space or any area to the left of that max point. So anywhere to the left of the vertex. And then the right bound is going to be anywhere to the right of the vertex. And then you hit enter again. So when he's 4.6 out, he's going to have a max height of 1.91. So you want to be looking at the y value. So roughly 1.91. Okay, for number 6, they're asking you to write a quadratic equation with the following pair of roots. So the roots are 1/2 and 9. So they come from a factorization. So x minus 9 would give us the positive 9 as a root. For 1/2, remember the denominator of the fraction is the coefficient of x. And the numerator is the number after the sign, and we also take the opposite of the sign. So that's what we would have. This would be the factorization of this. Now we have to FOIL this out. So 2x times x is 2x squared. 2x times negative 9 is negative 18x. Negative 1 times x is negative x. Negative 1 times negative 9 is positive 9. So let's add the like terms. And that is one possible answer. Number 7 is just a basic factoring problem. So let's use the box method here. Lead term is 2x squared. Last term is 6. Our AC is 12. Let's write the possibilities. 1 and 12, 2 and 6, 3 and 4. Let's read the signs. The signs say that they're going to be the same sign, both positive. So if they're both positive, we have to find the one that adds up to 7x. That would be 3x and 4x. Let's drop those in and factor. They're going to be positive all the way around. 4x and 6 would give us a GCF of 2. This gives us x. That gives us 2x, and this gives us 3. So it's going to be 2x plus 3 times x plus 2. Number 8, we're graphing the parabola. We want to find out the vertex. So the opposite of b, let's write this in black. The opposite of b over 2a is going to be negative 1 over negative 4, which is 1/4. That's the x-coordinate of the vertex. To find the y-coordinate of the vertex, we want to input 1/4 into the equation and see what we get for an output. 1/4 squared is 1/16. Negative 2 times the 16th is negative 1/8, because the 2 and 16 cancel. Plus, let's make both of these eighths. 4 goes into 8 twice. 2 times 1 is 2. 1 goes into 8 times. 8 times 1 is 8. So when we add these, 8 and 2 is 10. 10 minus 1 is 9. So we have 9/8. So let's plot the vertex. 1/4, comma 1 and 1/8. I would plot the y-intercept, but it's extremely close to the vertex, so I'm not going to bother. I'm going to plot an additional point. Let's plug in 2 and see what we get. So let's 2 in for x. 2 squared is 4. 4 times negative 2 is negative 8. This is 3. So you get negative 5. So we want to plot the point 2, negative 5. So the point that is symmetric to that, because the x value of the vertex is 1/4, you're moving 3/4 and 1. So I'm going to go to the left 1 3/4. So there's 1 unit. That would be to the negative 3/4. And then an additional 3/4 would be a half a unit. So negative 1 1/2, comma negative 5. So we connect these. So again, this point down here is negative 1.5 comma negative 5, and this is 2 comma negative 5. Number 9, the absolute value equation. We could do an XY table. That's one way to do it. So let's let x equal 0. 2 times 0 is 0. 0 minus 1 is negative 1. Absolute value of negative 1 is 1. 1 plus 2 is 3. So 0, 3 is a point. You can plug 1 in. If you plug 1 in, 2 times 1 is 2. 2 minus 1 is 1. You get 3 also. So the vertex is going to be in between those 2 points, since these 2 points lie on the same horizontal. So let's find out right in between. 1/2. 2 times a half is 1. 1 minus 1 is 0. 0 plus 2 is 2. So at 1/2 comma 2 is there. So that's going to be your vertex. So let's find a point that's pretty far away. So let's let x be 5. 2 times 5 is 10. 10 minus 1 is 9. 9 plus 2 is 11. So 5 comma 11. So the point symmetric to that, let's see, is 4 units to the right of this point. So 4 units to the right of that, it's going to be negative 4 comma 11. And you want to use straight lines since it's an absolute value. And that's going to be your graph right here. And the last problem, explain in words what the domain would be for the function in problem 4. Well, if you go back to number 4, it gave a max distance of 9.22. So when we're talking about something jumping, he started jumping at the origin. Let's do a little graph here. This is where he starts jumping. And then he ends up hitting the ground at the max of 9.22. So the domain for this would be the set of all x's such that it has to be greater than or equal to 0, since that's where he starts. And he ends up at 9.22, so he has to be less than or equal to that. So you would just explain that in words.